okay, this is somebody who works hard. I like that. And their downtime is at home when I'm not paying them. I like that even better. So every hobby that you have can be seen as an advantage. So don't fall into the quagmire of just saying hobbies and then listing them. Actually make it work for you.
Well, I'd say the scariest thing is because I haven't worked in such a long time, I feel like I'm going to be asked questions about gaps in my CVs and why did you stop work for such a long time, and okay, I had my children, but it's just something I'm not very comfortable with. And I used to do my job, I think, very well, but that was a long time ago. Are they going to think, well, yeah, but that was a long time ago, so now, you know, there's been lots of things happening and she probably is not as good as before. So this is the scariest thing. Having to answer these questions in an interview is a bit daunting.
Most employers like to see that you have two referees. So they can either be written references or they can be names and telephone numbers of a referee that you want to provide. What I would say to you is, if you're asking somebody to give you a written reference, tell them about the job type that you're applying for, and then ask them if they could give you a reference that mentions certain skill sets. Because I, as an employer, if I see that a reference is there and it lists that the person has all of the requirements that I'm looking for and it's coming from a third party, that's somebody I will definitely interview. The other type of reference you can give, of course, is the name and the telephone number. And if you give that, please, 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 there are two things that you must do. The first thing is you must ask the referee if they're happy to act as a referee on your behalf. And secondly, you must be 100% sure that they actually are going to say good things about you. So if you were to look at it logistically, you'd have must have information, should have information, and could have information. So your must have information must go into your CV. Should have information is information that you should definitely put into your CV, provided that you have the space and that it fits in logically somewhere. And could have information you leave out, because that's information that if you require it at interview, that's when you can discuss it. But if it's not going to compel somebody to give you an interview, then there's no reason for it to be in your CV. Here's a few tips when you're creating your CV. Remember to keep your CV brief and short. Therefore, it should be no more than a maximum of 2 A4 pages. Remember that your CV should always be typewritten and not handwritten. And the type font that you use should be one of two. It should be Arial or Times New Roman. Make it size 11. For each new section within your CV, mark the title in bold. Remember to keep all of your typefacing black and show it on crisp white A4 sheets. And then, of course, when you're actually sending off your CV, make sure that you send it in an A4 envelope. A cover letter should be 1 page in length. That's an A4 sheet, and it needs to incorporate certain things. Now, what you need to remember in your cover letter is that you are marketing a product, you are marketing you. And therefore, it's not about what you want to sell. It's about either what somebody else needs or somebody else wants. Your cover letter is very similar to what the Americans term an elevator pitch. And that's really about fitting all of your best pieces of information into the shortest period of time. Every employer is looking for 3 basic things when they're hiring somebody. Number 1, they want to know that the person they hire is capable of doing the job. Number 2, they want to know that the person they're hiring can communicate well. And number 3, they want to be sure that the person they hire has the ability to get on well with the other people within their company. And that's the information that's going to form the basis for your 3 paragraphs in your cover letter. So when you actually look at the 3 paragraphs, you see that we're identifying the 3 things that every employer wants to find. They want to find, number 1, somebody who's capable of doing the job. Number 2, somebody who can communicate well and has other skills that are valuable to them. And number 3, somebody who's going to fit in well with their company and their team. You're going to have number 1 is your own personal details. Number 2 is going to be the company name. So number 3 is going to be an actual reference to the job that you saw advertised and where you saw it. Number 4 is going to specify who you're actually sending it to, dear Mr. or Ms. Number 5 is going to just have an opening line that says, I'm writing in response to the advert I saw in for the position of. Then you're going to have 3 main paragraphs. The first one shows that you're a viable candidate. In other words, you fill what the employer needs to hear is that you're capable of doing the job. Number 2 is going to show your skill sets and your strengths by telling them that actually you're somebody who has a skill set that would be of value to them. And number 3, you're actually going to tell them that you're somebody who would be a valuable member of the team and that their team would enjoy working with. And then, very, very important, to actually ask for an interview at the end. So to say, I would be delighted if you would take the time to read my CV, and I'd be very happy to come in for interview should you actually decide that I could be of value to your team.
I'm a good member of the team, and I'm a good communicator. How long is this interview going to be? Because I've another interview to go to, and it's a really good job.
So now that you know how to create a really great CV and a really strong cover letter, you have a much better chance of actually getting that interview. Join us next week from the original Viking Wall of 1100 AD, when we're going to tell you how to prepare for that precious interview, how to answer the most difficult questions, and how to answer the one question that every interviewer asks, but very few people ever prepare for.